Hello everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Veil Tarot Astrology. My name is Candace Marie. Thanks for joining me. Welcome to Saturday night. Hopefully you guys are doing well. I'm stoked to be back on the channel. We're going to be doing live readings this evening, and it is a Saturday night full of tarot. Give a couple people some time just to see that we're going live. I know we've got a couple people who are already in the queue. Thank you for that. How's everybody doing? Things are finally going to start calming down. I'm pleased to announce that things are going to calm down a little bit now that we're getting out of the energy from those eclipses finally. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm an evolutionary and a Western astrologer. I also practice the art of tarot readings and also clairvoyant readings. You kind of get a little bit of a mashup when you get a reading with me. Every Saturday night we alternate. We go back and forth between tarot and astrology. This week is going to be tarot. There's a QR code right up here. If you scan that, it's going to take you directly to my PayPal for a donation. $20 donation for 1 card, $40 donations for 3 cards. Ask whatever you would like, any particular question. You can be as specific or non-specific as you want, but keep in mind that we are going to be reading your tarot in an open forum, so people are they're gonna hear all the tea. So just a heads up. If you don't want me to say your full name, just let me know when you scan the QR code. It's going to take you to my PayPal. When you make the donation, please do put in the memo your specific question. If you want to let me know your sun or your moon, your rising or anything like that, just to add a little extra pizzazz, you're welcome to do so. How's everybody going? Thank you for the birthday wishes. It is my Jesus year. I am now 33. Fortunately, unfortunately. Hey, Juliana. How's it going? Hey, Diana. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's been an eventful weekend. It has been an eventful weekend, but I'm finally able to kind of chill after those eclipses, man. It's been pretty wild the last week. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Let's go ahead and we'll start first with our level 3 subscribers. If those of you guys who are new to my channel, you know, that's what's cool. We have different memberships. So if you like my content, if you like my weekly videos, my horoscopes, all the stuff that I'm putting out there for free, all that's possible because I have people who join my memberships or subscribe or comment, donate, all that stuff. So I'm constantly putting videos out. We have a video coming out pretty much almost every other day right now, 4 times a week. But if you become a level 3 subscriber, you're going to get a reading once a month. So people like Catherine Murray, Claudia, Tiana, Deanna, Paula, Stephanie, Emma, Nancy, and Jessica Martinez. Thank you guys for being awesome, for supporting me. A lot of you guys have been members for nearly a year, sometimes some of them even longer. So I know we got Deanna last time, but if anybody else is here that wants to get on the level 3, let me know, or you can hold on to your credit and you can use it next week for astrology. If you want to join level 3, it's pretty much a little bit more than paying for 3 card readings. So you can support the channel and you can get a reading right off the bat. Hi, Maria. Thank you. I did it. I finally did it. Yeah, I had a lot of help. That wasn't just me, but this is my 2023 Astro calendar that's behind me. It is finally live. I haven't really announced it. I put it on my Instagram and I put a statement on my community tab, but tomorrow for the weeklies, everybody's going to hear that it is available. So it's really cool. All the major transits, the eclipses, the new moons, the full moons, all the aspects that's happening pretty much daily, everything but lunar transits, along with complete profile breakdowns on all of the 12 zodiac signs and ritual recommendations. So what crystals to use, what oils to use, what incense to use to really like make magic all year long. Check that out. It's on my website now. It is on sale, and we have a physical copy for print that you can purchase, or a digital if you want an instant download. So we have options. All right, cool. Thank you for letting me get all of my shameless plugs out of the way. I appreciate it. That way you guys don't have to stay and listen to the end to get them. So let's go ahead and kick it off then. We've got a couple people in the queue. If you guys end up getting in the queue and making a donation, just let me know, especially if your name differs from PayPal and YouTube. I would appreciate it. We're going to go with Vanessa. Vanessa got in there twice, so I'll take you. We've got Vanessa and Sabrina. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. Let me make a little space here so you guys can see a little bit better. What's up, Terry? Happy Saturday. Thanks for joining. Hi. Hi, Vanessa. How are you? I'd like to know why an old friend, the initials are EV, who happens to be a Gemini, why did he come back into my life? What are his true intentions with me? Is he sincerely interested, or is he just lost or bored? That's a good question. Double trouble. Lots of coming back for anybody who's got personal placements in Gemini. So let's take a look. Thank you, Juliana. I got you. So this is going to be for Vanessa. The card that you get is the Ace of Cups. Well, I mean, that's kind of a testament in itself. So emotional connection, feeling cards, right, are always going to be like the Ace of Cups, the Six of Cups, the Two of Cups, the Ten of Cups, anything that's talking about coming together and building on emotions, but everything starts with a single seed. So the Ace of Cups talks about planting that seed, so the beginning process of an emotional connection. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work out. It doesn't necessarily mean it's true love. It means it's the very beginning process. So the other thing is like with the cups, it's about feelings and emotions. So it can also be saying that it's like the beginning process of being like, you know, he's coming back, he's reconnecting, and he's realizing, hey, there's actually some feelings there. It's not purely just like a physical thing. Lost, boredom, generally you don't see that with the Ace of Cups. It's kind of saying that there is like an emotional connection. There is something strong enough emotionally for this person to be like, hey, you know what? I wasn't just reminiscing. I want a fresh start, because fresh starts always come with aces. So if this is somebody from your past, it's being like, hey, let's give it a second try. Like, let's try again. Let's see if this could actually be something this time around. It can also mean that this is like a fresh start, like a clean slate. So I'm wondering, like, have you had that conversation with this person and been like, hey, whatever happened in the past, like, I'm not looking to repeat that? Because I feel like it's worthy of having that kind of conversation, because this energy is basically saying we're starting from scratch. So anything is possible. You know, the next card that comes from the Ace of Cups is the Two of Cups, which does talk about going from just having an interest and talking about the beginning process of kind of feeling out our feelings to being like, let's meet up, let's go out and have dinner, let's go on a date. Like, it's about waiting for the offer. So being that a new seed is being planted, the Ace of Cups is not a negative card. It's basically saying there is a possibility here for a fresh start or a new beginning. It's just important for you to really kind of lay the groundwork, I think, and let him know, like, whatever's happened in the past, we're not going back there. But also, like, there's nothing sinister. There's nothing about this person, like, having, you know, malintentions or just in it for some kind of physical pleasure. Like, this is a very emotional, sensitive, emotional card. Sometimes when this card comes up as a single card too, I always ask my client, like, how do you feel about the connection? How does it feel you talking to this person? Do you feel like there's room for something to grow there? Are you noticing that you're getting more from them emotionally this time around? Like, they're going to be a little bit more forward with how they're feeling and like what their intentions are. This can be a working period of roughly about a month. So just know that it's kind of saying as we go through this next kind of month-long period, things might fully open up and they might start to blossom. So yeah, that's a very positive card. I don't think that that's boredom. I think that that is sincerity 100%. Ace of Cups is like, I genuinely want to connect. So really reinforce the fact that you're starting from scratch, and you guys need to start over and kind of turn over a new leaf, that you can't repeat the same patterns that you did in the past, right? But, you know, his intentions are pure. Let's see what your other question was, because I saw you had another one here. And you said, where is that? There we go. Secondly, about the Virgo DJ. Came back around. Why? Should I be cautious, or will this be different, better with his intentions? So we've got, on one hand, a Gemini that is very interested and wants to connect, but you're not interested. And then on the other hand, we have Mr. DJ, who is kind of swung back around. Should Vanessa be cautious this time? Will it be different, or will it be better with his intentions? Kind of neutral. I mean, to be honest with you, like, if you're saying, like, how should I approach this? how to handle this. The Seven of Wands is like, stand your ground. It's like, don't immediately let that person right back into your life. It's about being a little bit more on the defensive. Doesn't mean that you're cutting them off. Doesn't mean that you're saying no, but not letting your guard down is definitely associated with the Seven of Wands. So this is a card that deals with like being on top and having a higher vantage point. Physically, emotionally, you know, energetically, like being able to kind of be ready for anything and not letting anything quite catch you off guard. That's what's really important here. This tells me that like your interaction with him may be guarded and that you're like, what do you want? Where have you been? What's the deal? What, like, you know, what are you interested in? Like there is some sense of you asking him a lot of questions and protecting yourself, rightfully so, considering some of the stuff that's kind of happened in the past in terms of your relationship with him. This is a card that's about coming out victorious. So it's also saying that if you do decide that you're like, actually, this is not a go for me, like I don't see the same situation repeating where you're feeling like dissatisfied with, you know, how things were left. This is talking about you being the person who's either the bigger person or the person who comes out on top. So rather than it being a situation where you're left feeling like you're holding the bag emotionally, you're not getting what you need from him, like whatever, this is going to be a situation where I think that you kind of stand your ground and you're very guarded with him for several weeks' time before deciding whether or not you're going to participate in a romantic connection with him. Like this is about you making the rules now, not playing by the same old rules that you had with him and not making it necessarily easy for him to just work his way back into your life, especially if you feel like it took time to go through the process of like letting that person go or kind of bouncing back after that relationship. This tells me that he doesn't immediately get access back into your life again and that he's going to have to work hard or really put in an effort to kind of get you to where you're letting your guard down a little bit and you're more open with him or you're more open to letting him into your life in general. I do think that this can also be a reflection of, you know, him saying like, why aren't you like letting me see you? Like, why is it that you're playing hard to get? Like, why is it you won't make time for me? So keep that in mind, that there can be a sense of him being combative and being argumentative because he feels like your standards are very high. So you, on the flip side, you could see him being like, okay, I'm trying, but you're not letting me. So it's important not to just put up your wall, to basically kind of like let him know, like, this has happened several times, you know, you've made it very difficult for us to be kind of consistent. I never know what I'm going to get with you. Like, I'm not just going to immediately let you back in. Don't keep your wall so high that you're not telling him that there is some kind of potential of being able to kind of reconnect and rekindle something. But intuitively, I feel like this is less about you playing hard to get. It's more about you kind of like letting him know, like, you're not just going to immediately have access to my life again, and like really kind of keeping your guard up so you're not backtracking and in a way, like all of the hard work that you've been putting into kind of really letting this one go, like it's not going to be in vain. You know what I'm saying? Because you might do this for a period of time, let him back in, and then realize that, you know, it's just going to be challenging and he's going to want to be the one that's going to be in control. And then you're like, oh, I'm in this cycle again. And like, now I feel like we're going back and forth. So not allowing it to get to that point. He's going to have to work hard to kind of get back into your good graces. Okay. Hopefully that's helpful for you, Vanessa. It's nice to hear from you. One of my longtime clients. All right, so who else do we have here? We have got Sabrina, Juliana, and then Brianna. So let's see what Sabrina says. Sabrina says, 3-card reading. Question: is the guy I'm dating the right one for me? Should I continue dating him? The background: we've been dating for 5 months. I'm looking for marriage and children soon. I'm 32. He's 35 and widowed. His wife died 2 years ago. Me, Taurus sun, Scorpio rising, Cancer moon. Him, Cancer sun, Aquarius moon. Rising is unknown. I was gonna say, like, the way that you were delivering all of that information, like, here's my question, here's the date, here's the background. I'm like, this has to be an earth sign. You're a Scorpio rising, but you're a Taurus sun, Cancer moon. All right, let's see what's up. What is going on? Is this guy a good match for you? I mean, I will say this from an astrological perspective. If you're a Scorpio rising in general, regardless of all of your other placements, just the fact that you're having North Node eclipses that are in your 7th house whole sign is about bringing in really significant partners that are going to be stable and consistent that you can grow with. So the odds are very much in your favor, especially with Jupiter retrograde in your 5th, thinking about family, having kids, all of that stuff. I also think that I really like that his moon is in your 4th house, even though it's going to square your sun and your rising. Like having a man's moon in your 4th house means like you could cohabitate well together. You're probably just getting hit pretty hard with like, you know, the Saturn transit in your 4th, and you're like, okay, well, dealing with partners and issues with living situation or whether or not they want to break from the past, right? So it's just kind of the astrology right now. So let's take a look and let's see. I also really like the fact that you're a Cancer moon and he's a Cancer sun. You've got some really nice synastry, just knowing that. I mean, we'd want to look at like the Mars and the Venus and stuff, but not half bad. So let's see what the cards say in regards to continuing to date this person. I would also really reflect on what's going on currently with these eclipses that have been taking place in your 7th house. There's been some stress because the eclipses have been conjunct Uranus, and I'm wondering if this is like having conversations with him and being like, are you open to finding love again? Are you open to living with a woman again? Like, are you open to talking about cohabitation? That's really like kind of like the path that I would be talking about, just given some of the transits right now. And try to keep in mind that I know we don't know his rising, but his moon is 7 houses from his sun, right? Because he's a Cancer sun. So we think of it like a Cancer rising. So until Saturn fully really comes out of that 8th house to his sun, there is a lot of grieving, working through things, like learning how to open up and talk about sharing money or resources or like intimacy. Like that's all going to open up. The 9th house is your 2nd marriage. So I'm thinking about how like over the last 2 years, like Venus went retrograde, Saturn and Pluto came into conjunction in Capricorn for like a Cancer in general, like death and destruction or transformation of one relationship leading to the next. The fact that Saturn is moving into Pisces for a Cancer, which is 9th house to their sun, can be an indication of like stronger commitment to like a second person who could be like that person. So long story short, just basing it off of his sun and like your guys' chart sounds pretty decent, to be honest with you. Like sounds like that could be kind of in waiting. But let's see. Oh, that one jumped out there. All right, so we have got 8 of Cups, the Hermit card, and the King of Cups. You know, I think that where you kind of caught him, and I'm wondering if he said this to you, is like that he had kind of like given up on love, or that he had kind of given up on relationships, or that he was having a difficult time like fully moving on. Like maybe he's like, yeah, you know, I acknowledge the fact that she's kind of passed, but he had a hard time moving on. The 8 of Cups coming up is also saying that it's like a process of like walking away and like letting something go. So this is in the past, okay? So it's basically saying like having to kind of finally consciously pick up and move on, that's been an important piece of the puzzle. And not feeling bad about it, right? Because the 7 of Cups is kind of like, I'm lost, I don't know where I'm going. The 8 of Cups is like, okay, it's really time to move on now. And then the next card would be the 9 of Cups. So I see this as kind of him coming into this relationship with you, realizing that there is more, that it is possible to be in a relationship and have commitment and to be happy. And it's really helped him with the process of being able to kind of not grieve, but really kind of wrap that up and move forward. The Hermit card. So this is kind of saying like he may be more quiet or reserved, or there may be a sense of like you being like, I'm not getting any feedback from him. Am I alone in this? Like, where are we going? Like, what's the deal? The Hermit card is also a process of like reflection. And so this can be saying like leaving that person alone, or like letting that person be, or like letting them have their time to kind of like reflect and think it over. Intuitively, I feel like this is probably talking more about being like, okay, you don't want to be the person to give him an ultimatum and have him figure it out once you've left. You would rather be like, okay, I want somebody who is like assertive and they know what they want. These two energies together, very similar. If you look at the symbolism here, you see him like walking away and he's got his staff. And then in this, you see the front of him. So here you see his back. And this is about him turning his back on what has happened in the past. So, okay, he's moved on. Now you see him, the front of him, he's got a different color. So it's like a lot more kind of grounded and somber and kind of like natural and earthy. And you see him with his staff and also with a light. So it's like the light turns on and he's like, I know what I need. I know what I'm working through. Like, I don't have to be alone, right? So there's this click that's going to be happening. Maybe it's been happening for him since Virgo season. Maybe it's been since like September-ish, August, September, that he's been kind of hermity and you're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what's your deal? Like, why are you kind of claiming up? Or why are you not telling me what's going on? Like, why are you not telling me about how you feel? There are feelings there. The King of Cups comes up. So this is generally like, first of all, if you're going to pull on a relationship, especially with a man, ideally, if you're looking for commitment, right? We want to see kings because kings are mature, they're grounded, they've perfected their energy, like they're going to really show up depending on the element. So the King of Cups, right? He's a Cancer. It's basically saying, like, to be honest with you, I think you're dealing with somebody who's not stunk in the past. I think you're dealing with somebody who became so emotionally connected to this person transitioned. I'm forever going to be alone. I can't imagine being with anybody else. I'm not even looking, to just like poof, you showed up in their life and you're like, okay, are we going to do this or what? And I don't think he anticipated that you were going to come into his life. But I think there's a lot of feelings there. So the King of Cups is like someone who really genuinely does love you, right? Cups is about true love. It's about connection, emotions, and feelings. It also talks about maturity and that there is like a maturing process that's going on with him right now. And he's like realizing that it's okay to be emotionally vulnerable and to open up. Still, I feel like the biggest obstacle and the hurdle for you right now is the fact that you've got a guy in his head that was like forever and always alone. And then all of a sudden the game has changed. I also feel that Cancer placements can have a tendency to reminisce and get stuck on the past. And if they stay there for too long, or if they're fearful of change or loss or like being emotionally vulnerable, like I think this is more tied to him being like, I really cared about somebody, I lost them, I don't know if I can do that again. And like the fear of loving somebody so much that it's really scary because he's already gone through a process of like grief and loss. However, I think that there's some beauty to this because I feel like it's him actually realizing that probably the most amazing thing is that he can have feelings again. He can be in love again. He can be committed to somebody again. It is very possible. So I think it's a matter of just kind of saying to him, like, where are we going? Like, I would encourage you with this person to not focus on the past. Don't be like, are you over it? Are you okay? You know, like, you don't need to talk about that because personally, like, you know, will he always think about it? I'm sure. But I don't see him being stuck there because this is saying like he's very present with the feelings and his cup is full in terms of his feelings for you. And that he is thinking about like love and he is always thinking about you, and that there is some sense of like really genuine feelings and commitment there. Like there's no cards that are coming up saying like, oh, he's playing the game, there's other people, like nothing like that. This is just somebody who's really, I think, genuinely afraid to kind of like love and lose again. So talk about the future. Talk about where you're going. That's what's really kind of benefiting your transits right now. I would also say that, you know, the fact that Jupiter's retrograde back into your whole sign 5th is really helpful because it's going to give you the opportunity to talk about moving, because Jupiter also deals with like expansion. So moving or traveling or anything in regards to like getting away together, like those are things that I would talk about. So you can talk about proactively kind of moving forward. And yeah, you know, as Saturn's moving into your 5th house as a Scorpio rising, you're going to find that the next 2.5 years is about preparing and getting ready to have a kid. So I would also say that that's actually really likely to happen with your transits. We'd have to look at your progressions and stuff. But I think when you get into like the next 2 years, when we see Saturn go into your 5th house of Pisces and it starts sextiling Uranus in your 7th, and then Jupiter goes into your 7th, it's like having a kid, getting married, like very quick, like boom, boom, boom. And before you get to that process, you have to talk about whether or not he's willing to open up and start talking about building a life together first. In my opinion, the feelings are there. Just try to focus more on talking about where you're going forward, and no funny stuff is going on here. Okay. Good luck. Who else do we got here? Thank you guys who are just tuning in. If you want to get a reading, we're doing live readings. You can scan the QR code right up here. $20 donation for 1 card, $40 for 3. But if you guys want to donate more, you want to tip, you want to comment, you just want to hang out, totally fine. You can share the feed and get it out there for other people. I would appreciate it. We've got Juliana. Cool. 1 card reading, Pisces Sun, Cancer Moon, and Rising. What do I need to know? My question is more spiritual path. What do I need to know? You got it. Thanks, Terry. Hey, Andrea. You're welcome, love and light. Good luck. All right, so what does she need to know spiritually? My, oh my, that is a lot of water, my dear. Cancer Moon, Cancer Rising. So you're having your lunar return, huh? Let's take a look at what the cards say. What do you need to know? All right, so we have 7 of Cups, 5 of Coins, Page of Cups. It's funny, I was like, lots of water, more water. Interesting. So, you know, just kind of looking at this right now, and like, I'm very, very, very aware of what's going on for both Pisces placements and Cancer risings. Some uncomfortable things have been taking place for you in terms of security with those eclipses that were squaring Saturn actually in your 8th house. 7 of Cups coming up is a period of like feeling like you're overwhelmed with a multitude of situations or options or scenarios or choices. So, you know, personally, I think that this can be talking about feeling overcome with emotions. This can be talking about trying to sort and sift through dreams and making sense of symbolism and other things that are kind of coming up for you. This can also be a period where you're really struggling to find clarity and get grounding, because there can be like this energy of like having your head in the clouds and just having so many things that are kind of coming up at one time. This does talk about cutting through illusions though, or anything that can be keeping you from being able to kind of like feel like you have your feet in the ground. So sometimes when this card comes up, I talk to people about being like, okay, are you so overwhelmed that you're not able to kind of really hone in and deal with the problems that are at hand because there's so much external things that are going on for you in general? This is also a card that talks about like, you know, lucid dreaming, anything in regards to visions that you have, things like that that you're kind of downloading, and like questioning whether or not what you're seeing is real, which can be challenging depending on where Neptune is in terms of your sun right now. But to be honest with you, like you should be doing very well with the energy now, because so many planets are in Scorpio moving through for you, you know, your 5th house, and it's going to be trining your, you know, your rising and also your moon and your sun. So, you know, there is like a sense of you basically looking at things and being like, what is the purpose? Like, what am I here to learn? Right. And unfortunately to me, it looks like it is some challenging things that are going on right now. It's not necessarily easy. Pentacles can be kind of feeling like they're tough right now, whether this is you feeling like you're being left out in the cold, or this is you going through some challenges and not feeling like you have the support that you need, or having some stress when it comes to either health or finances. The Pentacles deal with your physical body, it deals with your finances. It can also deal with physical things in general. So when you see the 5 of Coins come up, 5s always represent kind of like the steepest part of the tarot, and like something that you're really trying to overcome. We've got 2 people that are out in the cold and obviously homeless or injured, and kind of like hoping for some assistance in general. And what's interesting here is that there is this sense, in my opinion, of you kind of finally having a breakthrough, especially if there's anything relating to your childhood, or anything in relation to children, or anything in relation to like romantic love affairs where you're like, I've been, you know, taking it in the shorts for too long, or, you know, I've been identifying as a victim. I no longer want to identify as a victim from, you know, my childhood, or from my relationships, or from financial situations. There is like a sense of things actually shifting. I've spent 33 years healing myself and completed most of it. Okay. So the Page of Cups coming up is like a well-welcomed kind of relief from what seems confusing and then challenging. And then all of a sudden it's like more optimistic and open and emotional and sensitive. It can be talking about new emotions that are starting to emerge that haven't emerged in a very long time, or that they're starting to kind of show themselves, and you're becoming more positive and optimistic and open and feeling like more love and feeling more warmth. This can also be about connections with other water signs. This is a card that definitely comes up a lot for Pisces in general. Obviously, you see he's got the little fish in his cup. Even though pages deal with like younger people, like children or like lovers, or, you know, younger people that we kind of spend time with. For me, this is like my Pisces card. So this is probably a spread that's talking to you directly, being like, look, we know that you've been through some difficult times. You've had to work through some stuff, but now you're finally reaching a point where you're like, I don't have to go back there. I don't have to look at it as who left me, or what I didn't get to keep, or, you know, what job ended, what relationship ended. You're trying to kind of see that the glass is half full. So the Page of Cups is basically saying you're trying to add more spontaneity and youth and kind of happiness and playfulness and like love into your life right now. Like you're really kind of tapping into that energy to really help you make sense of not just where you've been, but where you're going. I also think that, to me, like this strikes me, I've seen this particular spread maybe twice, you know, just this combination. And in both situations, I can think of the two clients, and it was like them being like, I'm not gonna, say that I'm a victim of this anymore. I'm not gonna tell people that this is my story or this is what always happens anymore. Like I'm finally moving on from that. And it's great to hear that this can be finally closing a period of healing things. And it might be that there were a series of things that were all kind of interwoven that's been coming up in your life, like financially, emotionally, job-wise, and you realize like it was all kind of tethered to like some trauma that you might have had when you were younger, or it might have been connected to either vibrational issues, health issues, substance issues, mental health issues. Like sometimes we see that with the Seven of Cups. And finally deciding to pull yourself out of it, and then realizing that you don't have to go about life in those patterns any longer. That if you just tune in and you listen to the inner child, that's basically saying, hey, I just want to play, or I need love, or I need to be able to express myself, or that version of you needing to just kind of come through, then you start to kind of pull yourself out of some of the stuff that's been kind of going on. And you know, Page of Cups can also talk about, if it's not like a younger person that comes into your life, it can be somebody who ends up being like a playmate, right? Somebody who, you know, you go and you do fun things with, or you create with. This can be like a new romantic connection, and somebody who kind of adds a little bit more, kind of wind in your sails, and kind of, gives you like a breath of life back. And it's also just about being able to, I think, be in touch with your heart space, and like learning that it's okay to have moods, and that moods kind of come and they go, and it's a part of life, and you're still like learning how to kind of work that out in a way, right? The last 2 years have been so difficult healing and teaching and cleansing with so many donkey kicks. I felt the best I've ever felt inside though. Whole. That's amazing. And that's really what this is about. It's about being like, hey, not letting it kind of, not letting like life harden you or make you just kind of cold, because this is a very warm and kind of fun-loving and like fluid sign. And like this is obviously cold and kind of detached. And this is also kind of getting swept up in things that have been going on for so long. So the more that you're tuning into that kind of playful, youthful energy, the more that you're going to be able to kind of continue to kind of raise your vibrations, and also realize that you can't take life, or you can't take yourself too seriously. And it's going to allow you to let some of this stuff kind of melt away. Okay. Sending you lots of good vibes in your healing process. I'm glad to hear that you're working through that. Lots of water placements with some of these Neptune, Jupiter things are finally just like, I'm letting it go. And lots of waterworks and emotions and cleansing and purging comes with that. But hopefully you're doing well on your path to healing. Good luck. We've got Brianna, and we've also got April. And I see, is it Olivia? Thank you, Olivia, for your donation. I got you. I'm an alchemist, transferring everything into love. I love that. You are very welcome. So Brianna says, hey Candace, may I ask what's going on with the connection between my Taurus and I? I'm a Capricorn and I'd like my reading to be anonymous. You got it. I said your first name, but that's it. Sorry. All right. So thank you so much. Aries rising, Cap Sun, Scorpio Moon. Dealing with the Taurus Sun, Scorpio Moon who has been distant. Yikes. What's their rising? Man, so he's born on a full moon in Scorpio. Those ones are a little moody. Aries rising, and your sun is in Capricorn, whole sign 10th. You've got eclipses going on in your first house and your 8th house as well. So that's where his placements fall. Scorpio moons are getting kind of rocked with these eclipses because you've got eclipses that are hitting the south node and the moon is connected to the nodes. Okay, no worries. Think about the Mercury retrograde that happened in Libra, like August, September, October-ish, all that energy when Mercury was retrograding. It was like where there was miscommunications. Let's see what the cards say. But if they have Scorpio and Taurus placements, they're getting hit hard. And just thinking about it from like a Taurus sun perspective, if you don't know the rising, you know, the North Node going through Taurus, hitting his sun, can be talking about him focusing more on himself, his pleasure, his free time, his fun, right? Doesn't mean that he is not interested in relationships, but South Node is going through the moon, which can be releasing and kind of disconnecting from a woman, 7 to his sun. And it can also be about, you know, the Saturn square getting kind of swept up in responsibilities for work and like not being as connected. He was distant then too, yeah. That's when that energy should have started for you because you're an Aries rising. Let's see what the cards say. I always ask, I mean, yeah, when Tauruses go cold, they go cold. And usually there's something up. So let's see. Interesting. Let's see what the bottom of the deck says. Because the card that I get is the Queen of Wands. Sometimes it is possible. Sometimes that can be an indication that there is another person hanging around. But I'm not really getting the vibe based off the bottom of the deck, the Knight of Pentacles. So the Queen of Wands, right? That can be talking about you personally and the fact that you're like, I know what I want to move forward because you're an Aries rising. Queen of Wands is also somebody who's going to be very direct and also somebody who like needs attention. They need to feel that there's life, that they're being pursued, that there's like action, right? So like this card coming up when we're asking, why is he being distant? What's going on? Queen of Wands is saying like, you want him to pick up the pace. I was trying to see if it was potentially another person, and the card that I got was Knight of Pentacles. So that actually is the tarot's way of telling me that you're wanting to move a lot quicker than he wants to move, basically. That you're like, okay, I know what I want. I know my worth. And this is, you know, I want to keep things kind of moving. Sometimes it can also indicate, because the Knight of Pentacles is the one that really drags their feet, that he's just taking slower, you know, in terms of like really kind of showing up. It doesn't mean that he's not interested, but he's really taking his sweet ass time. Of all of the Knights, this is the slowest one, but this can be the one that can kind of pay off. This can also be talking about him being super consumed right now with like working, making money, financial situations, and feeling like that is his priority and that he's kind of holding that, you know, flame right now. You know, Knights do respond and they do take orders from the queens. But in this situation, like, you guys are two different elements. You're about passion and energy and doing things and traveling and having sex and having fun, Queen of Wands. And the Knight of Pentacles is like, you know, I can't right now. I got to work. I've got a lot going on. You know, I got to get home. I got to do this. Like, he is not, you see, he's not even facing her. Like, they aren't the same element. So I think he's consumed with these things. I think that's what's going on. You have to understand also that it doesn't matter where their placements are. Scorpio is about debt, money owed, money that's, you know, leaving, you know, dealing with investments, dealing with purging, clearing some kind of pain. And also we've got Taurus, which is about physical finances and resources and the money and self-esteem and all the things that you create. So anybody who's got placements there is this storyline that's going on right now that's about what are we getting rid of and like what are we building. So Taurus suns, Taurus risings, Taurus moons can be very consumed right now with I need more money, more food, more work, more security. And this tells me because he's a knight, he's on his way to kind of, building. That's his focus right now. And his focus isn't super warm or fuzzy. It's not, really romantically connected. You do trump this though, because the queen is like the higher standing card. So it makes me feel like if this were a situation where, things were going to kind of break down and fall apart, it's going to be because he goes cold. It's not going to be because he walks away. It would be more you being like, you're not giving me attention. We're not taking photos together. We're not going on trips together. Like, what the hell are we doing? Which is kind of funny because you're a 10th house sun. So you work hard and you play hard because you're an Aries rising. You can juggle both. Right now, it looks like he can't. And what I would advise you to do is to let him know that you would like to see more of him. There can be ways for you to kind of turn up the heat a little bit with this Queen of Wands, letting him know that you want him, or that you want to see him, or that you want to physically connect with him, or that you miss him, just to kind of really get his attention and be like, what do I need to do to spell it out for you, But keep in mind that you can get that connection. He can show up in that sense, but he's still going to be like, my mind's on my money and my money's on my mind. It's going to be hard to kind of pull him away from that right now, right? It's also hard if you have, his sun in your second house, because you're going to be like, that's mine. And his moon in the 8th house means that there's definitely a sexual connection, but it can be a little bit off and on and inconsistent. But it's nice to know that the tarot is confirming. It's not like you're not hearing from him because there's another person. You're not hearing from him because he's kind of consumed with something that's going on financially, and focusing on kind of building something. And you're like, I'm already there. Well, what's up? Like, I want to go and do things. So try to turn up the heat a little bit. Let him know that you're missing him. Kind of put it out that way. Take also a look at, go and look at his Venus and his Mars sign. So if you can look at that if you know his birthday and his year. You don't need to know his rising, just to get an idea of like what's going to draw his attention. Because if you go and look at his Venus, he may be a Taurus, but depending on where his Venus is, that's going to tell you how you're going to get his attention. So that way you can kind of more so tune in. And I would say like Queen of Wands can turn up the heat. She's going to be like, are you going to do this, or am I going to find somebody else that's going to do it for me? Because you can be replaced real quick. Good luck. It is still open. Hey, Jennifer. Thanks for joining us. Venus in Aries, 12th house to his sun as a Taurus, Scorpio moon. Well, ignoring them works. I would say red lipstick, red underwear, feet pictures, Mars and Pisces. That's a really interesting combination. And anything in regards to fulfilling your own pleasure, because he can't do that right now, will definitely upset him. Trying to keep it PG for the kids. Just kidding. Hey, Tanya, it's open. He loves feet, Mars and Pisces. Feet! That's an interesting combination. Mars and Pisces, Venus and Aries. That's like emotional whiplash all of the time. What a confused little Taurus. I'm so sorry. Good luck. Okay, so we have got now April. All right, so April says, one card reading. I'm super single, wondering if there's anyone coming towards me in love. I am an Aries sun, Scorpio moon, Pisces rising. You are the opposite of me. I'm a Scorpio sun, Aries moon. You just burn things down all the time. All right, let's take a look. Pisces rising. Well, I mean, I think one thing you've got going for you is all of these planets moving through Scorpio, going through your 8th house, going into your 9th house. Let's take a look. So is there anyone coming towards April in love? She's super single. Ooh, good news is on the way. And is that what I see? I'm looking at myself on, yeah, the Justice cards on the bottom. 10 of Cups. I mean, hi, things don't get much better than that. 10 of Cups can be talking about timing, though. The bottom card was the Justice card. I could see it in the screen, so I kind of laughed. That does talk about relationships and karmic relationships, karmic law, bringing together balance, like balancing things out and like getting to a point where you're becoming very clear about what you want, right? You know, Pisces rising in general, Neptune's still in your ascendant sign, Jupiter's in your ascendant sign. That is a period of kind of being like very kind of priestly or like nun-like and feeling kind of isolated. When you start to see major transits to your natal Mercury, depending on what sign it's in, that's when you're going to see things open up. And personally, I think I would watch for that Mercury retrograde that's going to be going on in Capricorn, because it's going to sextile your ascendant. It rules your 7th house. It's going to be very prominent because it's going to be like at the top part of your chart. It's going to be technically taking place in your whole sign 11th. It might be in part of your 10th. So if you have a job change or something, you could meet someone. It could also mean that you go through a huge shift and you're more so open to a very public relationship in the new year. Or friends could set you up with someone. But, you know, keeping it to the cards in general, like 10 of Cups is like getting everything and more. So it's basically the happily ever after card. Everything works out. It works out very beautifully. 10 of Cups, though, I mean, look at this card. You've got two people that are joining side by side. They are, you know, dancing. They have all this rainbow above them. There's their house. There's their kids, right? And like they're all like outside playing. So this is a card that is associated specifically with happiness and joy and family and togetherness and long-term planning and anything in regards to like being able to build that. So this isn't really a card that's like, hey, am I going to find somebody and like have a good time for a little bit? It's like basically saying something very significant is going to be coming in or something connecting to building a life or a foundation. Okay, so your natal Mercury is in Aries, your Pisces rising, your Pisces rising. So Jupiter is your chart ruler, traditional chart ruler is a Pisces rising. Jupiter's gonna come into conjunction with Aries. I would be looking at when Jupiter's transiting your Mercury, basically, which depending on what degree it is, it's gonna be sometime between like, let's say December and May within this next year. Really pay attention to when the eclipses start happening in Aries in mid-April, March through April, when we have planets going through Aries, like when Venus and Jupiter come in conjunction, or you have your Venus return, your Mercury return. These are times that you're going to see this. It could be 10 weeks. It could be 10 months. I don't think it's going to be 10 months. I think you're looking at 10 weeks because like what? It's end of November. So we're talking about 3 months. So yeah, right when we're getting into about March or April is when you're going to start seeing some of these changes come together. Intuitively, I also feel like you might meet somebody when you're at a gathering when there's other people, or like if, let's say there's a celebration, there's a birthday, there's a wedding, there's a party, because this can be talking about coming together with like like-minded people and enjoying and going to somebody's like birthday bash at their home, or going to some like life event for a friend, and then you end up meeting someone. Also, because you have Mercury as the ruler of your 7th and it's in Aries, which is a sign where you just walk right up to somebody. I think it's important to pay attention to who you intuitively feel like talking to, or who just walks right up to you and kind of starts a conversation. And because Mercury is in a fire sign and it's in the very first sign, it'll start up very quickly. I'll be moving cities in 3 or 4 months to be closer to family. There you go. There you go. 10 weeks is literally like what? Like a little less than 3 months. So yeah. So when you do this, you're going to find that, look for like, it might be like a party outside or like a gathering or something, or somebody says, hey, we're having a barbecue, come over, like accept all the invitations. Realize that you're going to end up meeting somebody who I think you're either your family is going to love, or it's going to be someone who you're like, whoa, I think I would consider kind of like doing like the home and family and kid thing with you, maybe. Especially knowing that, you know, you're a Pisces rising and you've got this Aries sun, Jupiter's going to be in your sign. So you're going to be seeing that there's lots of room to be kind of expanding and seeing like the new opportunities that are starting for you life-wise. The fact that you're moving is also a testament, Jupiter on your ascendant. But yeah, somebody is coming in. Just look for that right around the time it looks like that you're going to be moving. And stay open. I would say this is about not like going and looking for a relationship. It's like you find the right person and you're like, wow, they want to do all the same things that I want to do. Like they want to do life together. And they seem to be really enthusiastic about the idea of being able to talk about what the future holds and being able to share life together. So it's going to be somebody who's going to want to talk about like what your goals are for the future, if that makes sense. I recently changed my mind on marriage and having kids. This is very accurate. Ooh, spooky, huh? Come back and let us know how it works out when you meet this person. Sometimes it's just a matter of like an emotional shift. You know what I'm saying? Like I think it's about an emotional shift. And once you make that shift, and then it's all of a sudden, it's like a light turns on and it's like ding, you know, especially because this is a card where you see everything being illuminated. And I think the rainbow is like saying like all of the various potentials that can kind of like show up and just bring everything together like very, very beautifully. So yeah, I'm excited to see how that works out for you. Where intention flows, energy goes, my friend. Thank you for your feedback. We've got Jennifer and then Tanya. Ooh, love Aussie Jen. Thank you, Jennifer. Let's see, did you ask me a question? There you are. I just paid Lovely, so let me know what we do. I'm so glad I caught you. I know all my signs and some of his, so let me know what you need. Just let me know your question. You're welcome, April. You can tell me what your question is. If you have sun, moon, and risings, let me know. Hello, I want to ask about a Saggy guy I like. He's in a band touring out here soon. Oh boy. Okay. I am an Aries. All right, so you're an Aries. You have another sign for me or a name for me. He's coming out here soon to tour. I like him a lot. I just want to know how he feels. I'm an Aries sun, Gemini rising, Aquarius moon, Gem rising, Mars retrograde, Aries sun belonging to your 11th house. So that's about reconnecting with friends and goals. And your Aquarius moon is going to be in your 9th house. Okay, we talk a bit. His name is Jason, and he's a Sagittarius. Okay, cool. Jason the Sagittarius is in a band. Coming to visit Jennifer. Let's see, where's his head at? And is there a connection? What do we need to know about Jason? Seven of Swords, Ace of Swords, Two of Wands. Ha! Okay, so let's start with the fact that, and I'm trying not to be biased and be like, girl, he's in a band, okay? I'm not gonna be jaded like that, but Seven of Swords makes me wonder. It's like, is he here to have a good time and not stay for a long time? What's the deal? We have a good report, but I can't work out if he's attracted to me. Okay, Seven of Swords is like something is missing. Right? So it's basically saying like, you're not getting the whole story. Like maybe there is a sense of you being like, okay, is there like a catch? Like what's the deal? Seven of Swords means there is some missing information. So it can be that he's not communicating with you, right? Which looks like it might change because you get the Ace of Swords. But it's also saying like, be cautious because not everything is what it may seem. Or that there is something that's like missing. You get what I'm saying? Like there's something missing. Seven of Swords can be a card, depending on the surrounding cards, that can talk about not feeling totally secure or having some issue with mistrust. But I think in this situation, it's you being like, I can't read him. That's where the Ace of Swords comes in. So I think this is about having some preliminary conversations and being kind of like, what are we doing here? What's the connection here? You know, like what does the future hold? Ace of Swords is planting that seed and having conversations about what you guys are planning on doing in the future. So it's like, okay, he comes there, you guys see each other, you go back and forth, you talk, but I would be like, okay, now what? You know, making it very clear and like drawing the line in the sand that you're not just looking for like a fling. The Ace of Swords is about directing your energy, speaking up and like using your voice and being able to be really honest with people about what your intentions are and what you're looking for and redirecting that. These together make me feel like it's about honesty and being like, okay, can we just like cut through this? Like, is there an interest here? Like, what's the deal? I feel like with the Ace of Swords and the Two of Wands, it's about having a conversation about what is possible or what he's looking for. And like, that's a really great way to kind of open up the conversation. I think with the Ace of Swords also and the Two of Wands, it's about like getting something committing to seeing each other again in the future. So this is a card that is associated with travel. So I think if you are going to be going back to the States and kind of letting him know like, hey, I'm going back there. Like, can we make plans? Or like, can I see you? Or like, can we hang out again? Or like, are we still going to talk? There is a need for you to do that basically because the Ace of Swords is coming up. That's going to relate more so to like a Gemini rising or, you know, any Aquarius placements, which you happen to have. I also feel that this is talking very specifically about like the air months. So it's saying that this is starting in the fall, but that you might be talking about seeing each other again or talking about visiting again. Could be February, right? It could also be, you know, May going into June. It could also be the fall of next year. These are the time periods that are kind of getting lit up. Two of Wands is also saying like talking about the potential before you make a move. So before you're like, okay, I'm going to buy the tickets, like having that conversation and being like, yeah, I'm going to be out there. Like, let's actually get together. None of the cards are coming up with cups. We're not seeing any major arcanas coming up. So when I see this, I always tell clients like things are changeable. So it is saying that if you apply the energy of the Ace of Swords about talking about things and kind of letting him know, like, I don't want to be guessing and assuming that there's something going on. So can I just tell you that I'm coming there and like, I would like to see you again? That way you feel like you can like actually make plans and feel more secure. The bottom of the card, which I use as my clarifier, is the Ace of Cups. So it's basically two aces. So it's being like, if you talk about it, then you can let the emotions flow. If you let him know, hey, that you're really interested in like, you know, not only are you going to be out in the States, but you actually want to see him again and that you're having a difficult time reading the situation. Like, I feel like this is somebody you could say that to. Like you can say that and he's not going to like get weird about it. The Ace of Cups is somebody who's going to be like, oh no, like, of course I want to see you. Like there is some sense of emotionally really kind of validating and letting you know like that there is a connection there. Two aces usually kind of symbolize not only a new beginning, but also that there is going to be some kind of like action, like the momentum is actually going to pick up. So if we look at the Ace of Swords coming up first, it's basically saying, okay, you put it out there, you know, you send the text message, you say it to him in person, you call him, then all of a sudden it's going to be like, well, yeah, I have feelings too. Okay, great, let's make plans, right? I unfortunately, you may have to be the one who does this, but I think that maybe there is like a sense of you being like a little unsure about doing that. Maybe because you're nervous, but you know, Mars retrograde in your sign is kind of like, oh, I don't want to act too aggressively. Like I don't want to move too quickly. There is this sense of really thinking through all of your actions before you're kind of pulling anything out. So tell him how you feel and realize that once you kind of have that conversation with him and you open the door to what is possible, he might tell you like, you know, when he's coming back, he might talk to you about when you're going to be visiting so you guys can actually kind of make plans and find that you have more time together. Because I feel like with the Seven of Swords, there's a lot of like being in town, packing up his stuff and then leaving. Like this is literally somebody who's packing up all their stuff and leaving a fairground. So he may not be physically in town for very long, or there may not be a lot of time to like actually spend together, like one-on-one. And he may have to move very quickly and kind of get the show on the road and leave. But I feel like if you let him know like, hey, I want to talk to you, or I want to, you know, call you, can we talk later? Or can we make plans? I'm going to be out there. Just be open with him and tell him that you're doing that because you want to see him again. Okay. Hopefully that's helpful. I got you, Leslie. Don't worry. I'm going to switch decks. I was just getting to you next before I finish this out. It's all good. Tanya and Kayla, you guys will be after this one. All right, so let's pull your question up here. So Olivia, my question is regarding to love. Will I meet someone in the next few months after a horrible ghosting situation from an ex last year? Libra sun, Cancer moon. So, oh, it's two different people. I take that back. Apologies. So we have, I got your question. I'll get you next. So I've got Olivia. So Olivia says, my question is in regards to love. Will I meet someone in the next few months after a horrible ghosting situation from an ex last year? Well, that's a bummer. Let's take a look. And you're a Libra sun, Cancer moon. Do you have your rising sign? You're welcome, Jennifer. All right, so let's take a look. So will she meet someone soon? So this is for Olivia. Let's take a look. Capricorn? Okay, cool. I've got 7 of Wands, 9 of Pentacles, and 8 of Swords coming up reversed. I gotta tell you, a lot of this is about letting your guard down. 7 of Wands coming up, 9 of Pentacles. I feel like this is about you looking at the situation and being like, why am I trying so hard? You don't have to try so hard. 7 of Wands is like being defensive, being kind of in a position where you're like, well, who can I trust? Is this going to work? Like there can be a sense of you either not letting people in so easily, or there can be a sense of you being in a situation where when people do come around, there's a sense of like kind of pushing things a little bit. It's kind of telling you just to kind of slow down a little bit. 7 of Wands is also not assuming the worst. So it's not assuming that anybody that you take up with that you're going to have that same pattern repeat. This is really important for you to hear because the 8 of Swords is coming up reverse. So it's saying like you're having an opportunity right now to just totally release and let go and like trust the process, that you're not necessarily just going to get hurt again. Not everybody is going to ghost you, that there's no need to kind of be really uptight, to just relax. 9 of Pentacles, wonderful card. So this is coming up in the center position. This is the right now. This is a well-kept woman. 9 of Pentacles is taking good care of yourself, really honoring yourself, treating yourself well, spoiling yourself. Like I always, when I say this card, I tell my clients to be like, you need to treat yourself the way you want to be treated. Like you need to literally take yourself on a date. You need to, like, anytime you're leaving the house, act like you're going out and you're meeting somebody, like just about the way that you're carrying yourself, and like really sometimes like showering yourself with affection, or, you know, kind of spoiling yourself a little bit, getting into the vibe of that. The 9 of Pentacles is also getting to a point where you're like, I don't necessarily need a partner. If I have a partner, great. But like, they're going to be the icing on the cake. So it's trying to get you to go from being like, oh my God, am I ever going to find anyone, to being like, I'll settle down with somebody when I meet somebody who's going to treat me as well as I treat myself. It's about the shift in the perspective, because you go from being like, who's going to love me, to if I let them in my life, then, you know, that means that they're this or better. It's about having also really high standards, but low expectations, because this is a card that talks about getting defensive when you have really high expectations for people. 9 of Pentacles is also a woman who is very secure. She's confident. She is somebody who walks into a room and like people can see that the way that she carries herself is with like a sense of confidence and just kind of like ease, right? Not anxious and worried about anything. So this is about getting comfortable with you, getting comfortable with like how you are, being on your own, like not feeling like everybody is just, you know, like unobtainable. Like you have to kind of treat it as, once again, if somebody is gonna meet your set of standards, then, you know, they will be lucky to have time with you. Like you have to start looking at it like that. Because that's when the armor starts to kind of fall off. That's also when you fall out of like this pattern of feeling like, oh, forever alone. I like that the Eight of Swords came up reversed, because you're going to realize that it's not a matter of people not choosing you. It's that you are or have been going back and forth with people who have been insecure or defensive, which in turn has put you in a position where you're feeling like you constantly have to do things to be able to earn their love. No, that's not how this is going to work anymore. Nine of Pentacles is like, if somebody amazing comes in and sweeps me off my feet, great. Otherwise, I'm still going to be fine. Breaking down the mental limitations or anything that's keeping you stuck or feeling like, oh, people aren't choosing me, right? Because that's really what needs to shift. This is like a mental thing. Eight of Swords reverse is also kind of finally breaking a pattern. So you may look at some of the relationships that you've had and go, wow, I've been with some people who like didn't know how to be loved, or they weren't receiving love, or they weren't consistent, or, you know, I tried to give to them, but they wouldn't open up. And then it kind of like left me. And like, you know, nobody's perfect, but the way that you might look at this situation is like, I'm choosing these people who don't choose me. So I need to choose me, and I need to know what it feels like to constantly put myself first. So that way, when somebody comes in and it's a vibrational match, I'm going to recognize that they are also going to choose me, and that they're going to communicate. And I'm going to get to a point with myself where I'm taking such good care of myself that I'm going to see those red flags, and I'm also not going to limit myself or water myself down and feel like I have to just accept the love that, you know, I think I deserve. It's like a complete rewiring that's taking place right now. Something magical always happens like when this card comes up, because it's kind of just reminding you that you are worth it. And that it's just a matter of getting to that point of like realizing and recognizing that saying that doesn't mean that like you're stuck up, or that you're conceited, or that you have unrealistic expectations. It's just that you want somebody to treat you well, and you want somebody to cherish you. You have to do that for yourself. It's only then that you're going to break the pattern, and you're also not going to be feeling like you're desperate for love. You're going to be giving that to yourself, and you're going to be bringing in people who are going to be, I think, healthier kind of partners in general. Is this an indication that somebody is necessarily coming in? Not necessarily, because there's no court cards coming up. Like there's no particular people. Really, the person that you're looking for is you. You have to be your own soulmate in this situation. You have to be in a relationship with yourself. Because if you can't have a healthy relationship with yourself, then it's not going to be easy for you to do that with other people. So rather than being like, where's the other person? I'd be like, you are the other person. You are your soulmate. When you start doing that and looking at it like that, I think that you're going to find that another relationship is going to come through. If you don't, then the warning that I'm getting from the tarot is the Tower, which is saying that you might be in for another rough and tumble relationship that might feel like you have to kind of start over and rebuild all over again. It's not unusual for this stuff to be going on for Libra, Libra Sun, Libra Rising right now, because Saturn's 5 houses to your Sun. So there's this theme of like, you know, having to really build on your confidence and like learning to like have fun and like make yourself happy, and not really giving a shit about what other people think, and like really kind of filling your own cup. And when you do that, there's going to be less letdown from other people who don't really rise to the occasion, right? So romanticize your life, romanticize, you know, the relationship you have with yourself. Buy yourself flowers, take yourself out, start being the Nine of Pentacles. Maybe put that somewhere as a reminder that you have to kind of keep putting yourself on that pedestal, because somebody is going to see how well you treat yourself, and they're going to come in and they're going to want to do that for you. Okay? About 8 weeks of this process is what it's kind of looking like. Good luck. Hopefully that's helpful. Okay, so we've got Tanya, Kayla, and then is it Lace? I'll get you in just a second. Thank you for your donation. We're going to call last call in just a minute, guys. So if you want to get your readings in, I recommend you do it now. Let's go with Tanya. I'm open to any message you pick up on. Thank you. A Cap Rising, Virgo Sun. Okay, so Cap Rising, you've got Virgo hanging out in your 9th whole sign house, Leo Venus, Libra Moon, Mars, Jupiter, and Mercury. Whoa! Moon, Mars, Jupiter, and Mercury in your 10th house. Wow, that's big boss lady energy. Do you work in the arts? What do you do? Like, or design or law? Mars, Jupiter, Mercury. Education? Legal stuff? I'm just curious. Cap rising Virgo sun. All right, so let's see what the messages are. Thanks, Olivia. Thanks for the feedback. I appreciate it. Good luck. Okay, so any message that we pick up on. Lisa, thank you. 1, 2, 3. So this is a message for Tanya, what she needs to know. I get the 4 of Wands, 9 of Cups, and the 10 of Wands. I did massage for 8 years. I switched over to office work for the county. Okay, cool. So we've got messages that she needs to know. 4 of Wands, 9 of Cups, 10 of Wands. I mean, wow. That's really telling me that you're having to work harder to find time for fun. 4 of Wands is about temporary spaces, getting out, doing things, enjoying yourself, socializing, playing. You know, just knowing that you're a Cap rising. I wasn't even really thinking about that till just now, but it's like, man, you got eclipses in Taurus taking place in your whole sign 5th. So this is like, am I going to live concerts? Am I going to shows? Am I practicing hobbies? Am I creating? Am I painting? Am I dancing? Like, this is about, through these eclipses, finding the space to be able to kind of like let your inner kind of star shine, right? So you may not be like, I want to get on stage, but there is something that's coming out that's saying like you need to kind of switch things up and have more fun with those eclipses in the 5th, or feel like you're falling in love with something. For the 4 of Wands to be coming up, I mean, it's really encouraging you to kind of like find ways to get out into your local community and start doing more of this, or going to parties, going to live music, going to festivals, going out with friends. Like, the 4 of Wands is celebrating certain accomplishments. So it can mean that as a result of your hard work, that now you're like, hey, I'm finally booking a vacation, or like, you know what, I'm taking a couple days off, or I'm making time for like a new hobby, and that's how you're rewarding yourself. 4 of Wands talks about this being something that you may do either outside or like with other individuals who are kind of coming together and having a good time. So it can also be joining creative groups or taking classes and things like that. 9 of Cups, wonderful card. This is the wish card. So when this card comes up, it's basically saying getting exactly what you want. I'm wondering if this is like that there's like a new talent that's emerging, or that there's something new that you're wanting to participate in, and you're like, I really want to do this. It's putting me more in the spotlight, or it's really putting the pressure on me to learn how to express myself better, or to kind of socialize more. And even though that's what I want, like, it is challenging. The other way that I look at this is that, you know, you're finding like when it comes to dealing with younger people or younger individuals, yes, it's fun if you have children, or yes, it's fun if you have, you know, a romantic partner, but you're like, I'm having to kind of like work hard to like really do this, to take care of a kid, to find time to go on a date, to find time to go to an extracurricular class. And you love it, but it's like a labor of love, if that makes sense. Because the 9 of Cups talks about enjoying and having a good time, and that this is something you've wished for, the 10 of Wands is like, I really wished for this thing, but like, it's going to be a lot. Like, it's going to be a lot of work. In some situations, the eclipses in your 5th house could also be like self-employment, or taking a hobby into like an actual business and being like, hey, maybe I can try to sell something I'm creating, or maybe I can try to put my art out there and see if it picks up. So I could see that if there's something that you've been doing that you really enjoy, that's like, wow, this is this thing that I love, but all of a sudden you're like, it's going to be a lot harder than I thought to learn how to paint, or do stand-up comedy, or open up my own Etsy storefront. And you're realizing that it's going to take a lot of like blood, sweat, and tears with that 10 of Wands to kind of see the project fully through, or to see something kind of come together. I also feel like this can be talking about ventures or journeys to go places for celebrations, or somewhere that you have always wanted to visit or wanted to travel, but the actual process of like taking the time off to go on the vacation, or physically, you know, finding somebody to kind of like help you go there, or working hard and saving up so that way you can go and have this experience, and that being an experience that pays off. It's a lot of hard work, but ultimately it's fulfilling. This is also just like a really amazing reminder for you, I think also, that you have to keep working hard on your goals right now, or on your dreams. that if there's something that makes you happy, or if you're trying to create more time consistently for happiness, or maybe you're trying to break your schedule up a little bit, make some changes in your schedule or in your immediate environment with where your home is. So you're not feeling like you're getting into this kind of like rigid kind of lifestyle. In the spring, you're going to see that the South Node is going to move into Libra, and the North Node is going to move into Aries. And for a Cap rising, and also Jupiter being in your 4th and your 5th, it's bringing all of your attention to your home, your family, if you're buying property, if you're living with people, if you're taking care of children, if you're getting involved in a home business, like all of your energy is going to shift. And just being somebody who has so many planets in Libra, I'm just giving you this heads up now, like big changes are going to be on the way. So a lot of these things might be really kind of manifesting for you more so in the spring. And I think maybe it's just like also just like a reminder to keep going, that even though you're really having to kind of pull a lot of weight right now to kind of see your dreams all the way through, in the end, they're going to really kind of be, it's going to be beneficial, all the hard work, because it's going to give you the opportunity to have more playtime or feel like you can have more of a life, right? I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like if you do finish, okay, so lagging with nursing school, so finishing school, doing those things, so that way you feel like you can have more time for your personal life, for your private life, that'll start to kind of come together. But yeah, you're going to come through this more so, I think, in the spring. Okay. So good luck with that. I mean, I think if this means that you've been lagging because you haven't been as focused, I still feel like there is a lot of focus here, but it's kind of saying like it can't be all work and no play, that you actually do need some of this playtime. And try to use that as a motivation, being like, okay, well, when I do make the changes in my career, I'm going to see these changes fully unfold. And then I'm going to realize like I have more time to enjoy, you know, my life and feel like I'm not just working all the time. And knowing that you have all that Libra in your 10th house, I would really recommend, I know you said you're going to nursing school. I would maybe consider like aesthetic stuff. Like if you're somebody who's open to like, you know, working for like a med spa, or like assisting or working with like doctors that are doing like injections, plastic surgery, like any of that stuff, like that would be really good for you. Or you can go in the direction of assisting and working with people who like work with the back, like back surgeries or things like that, or helping people physically kind of recuperate and recover. Because all that Libra needs something that's going to be aesthetically pleasing, or anything of that nature that's going to either assist people with their physical looks, or assist people with the back, because that's all Libra. So much Libra in your 10th house, especially like surgical stuff if you have Mars there. Hopefully that's helpful for you. Good luck with finishing school. Sending you all the good vibes. Thank you for tuning in and watching. Okay, so we have got Lisa and then Kayla. And readings are now closed if you're just tuning in. Okay, so Lisa says, will I meet a romantic companion around 2023? I'm an Aries Sun, Virgo Ascendant, Gemini, Moon, Venus Aquarius, and Mars Aquarius. So if you're a Virgo Ascendant, you got Venus and Mars somewhere in your 6th, so there's been delays in relationships. Your Sun is in the 8th whole sign, and your Moon is in the 10th. Okay, so let's look. So will Lisa meet somebody in 2023? I'll say this, you got something good working for you being a Virgo rising. You got Jupiter and Neptune in your 7th house right now. So that's really positive. So let's see what the cards say. Will Lisa meet somebody in 2023? Ooh, that card jumped out. 6 of Wands is a victorious card, so it's definitely saying victory, homecoming, coming together, something coming together, meeting people. maybe people coming and visiting your hometown or vice versa. I don't know where you live, but sometimes this card comes up when you go back home and you're going out around town, and then you connect to somebody who just happens to be in town for a short period of time. It's kind of the vibe I get there. But that jumped out. These were not the cards. These are the cards that I pulled. This is crazy. The Chariot, the Emperor, Judgment. It's not often that we pull 3 major arcana cards for a 3-card spread. Pretty rare. So, the major arcana, there's only 3 of them in the tarot deck, and each one is basically like a, hey, look over here, whenever it comes up in a reading, right? Especially because usually I'll do like a 10-card spread. For 3 cards to be coming up is basically saying like the winds of change are definitely coming. There are big things that are playing out for you right now. The Chariot talks about movement, getting your ducks in a row. It talks about traveling. It talks about vehicles. It talks about sometimes relocations, going places. I can't help but wonder, being a Virgo rising, right? You've got your moon in the 10th house. You have got a bunch of planets that are getting ready to go through your 4th house. Pay attention to Sagittarius season, the end of November all the way to mid-December, because you're going to have a lot of action in your 4th house, opposing your moon, squaring your ascendant, squaring, Mars and also Neptune. It's going to be like holy mutable squares, which means your home life might change, your relationships might change, your work might change. And the change is likely shifts going on with your professional life, because Mars is going retrograde for you in your 10th house, and Jupiter's getting ready to conjunct your sun, which means you might be thinking about traveling, you might be thinking about going to another country, you might be thinking about going back to school. There is opportunity for major transformation, but the Chariot does talk about following your intuition and listening to your intuition when it comes to where you're going, okay? Sometimes it's listening to your astrology, right? Because traditionally we see this as like a card where you have the Chariot that's like cloth with all of the stars and using the stars as your guide. So like really paying attention to astrology transits or your intuition or your dreams. But the Chariot can be chaotic, and it can be talking about too many moving parts and pieces, and that one area of your life is just kind of like going with the flow, consistent, and the other one's just like kind of all over the place and like needing to kind of rein these in a little bit and find more stability, so that way for the most part you're feeling like you know exactly where you're going. 2, then we have the Emperor that's coming up for you. So the Emperor is basically like the person. Like this would be like the husband, the long-term partner, the father, the business partner, like whatever. So if you're looking specifically for a partner, the Emperor is really kind of talking about like March, April of next year when planets get into Aries. Because this is a card that is it's ruled by Mars and it's connected to Aries. And it talks about like a long-term, standing, reliable, committed, like man, like partner, right? It can be talking about meeting somebody who has some combination of really strong like moon and Mars aspects. It can be somebody who's got a combination of Cancer and also Aries in their astrology. That's what you want to look for. But the Emperor is also talking about like somebody who shows up and rises to the occasion and is willing to talk about business and family and relationships and commitment and like building together. It can also be about having conversations with father figures and somebody who might be like older and a little bit more, I'm not going to say wiser, but somebody who's definitely got a little bit more life experience. And then we've got the Judgment card. So the Judgment card is basically coming up saying like cause and effect, like finally making some big decisions. I'm wondering if this is like you realizing like, wow, something has to change. I need to change something about either my career, the Emperor, or where I'm living, the Chariot, in order to kind of better open up my chances or my odds, or maybe looking at people in other places, or being more open to maybe being with somebody who's a little bit older. Or through traveling, connecting to work, or traveling, connecting to family, there's a connection to someone. And Judgment is saying like finally making some serious decisions and like really allowing not just the universe to intervene, but really allowing yourself to be like, okay, I know what I want, because decisiveness is not going to be easy for you. Even though Aries are very headfast and they know what direction they're going in, for you to have all that mutable going on in your chart right now is like Do I want a career or do I want a partner? Do I want to live here? Do I want to live there? Like everything is going to feel like it's changing. And you'll really see this during, like I said, Sagittarius season. I would encourage you to be flexible and be willing to either travel more often. I would say this to any Virgo rising, but I think with eclipses in your 9th house, it's trying to get you to travel, or it's trying to get you to go back to school, or it's trying to get you to take courses or classes or find gurus or mentors. That may potentially open up and make it possible for you to meet other people. A lot of Virgo risings, if they're just willing to take a simple class, even if it's online, or if they're willing to kind of travel, they'll meet someone because of the sextiles that are going on between the North Node and Uranus in your 9th house, which is a sister sign because it's in Taurus, to Jupiter and Neptune that is in your 7th. Now, in this next year, Saturn is going to be going into Pisces. So if you're a Virgo rising, you know, having Saturn come off of your Mars and Venus is great because you're going to see that there's less delays in relationships. And I think there can be more serious relationships ahead, not just in 2023, but also 2022. But I feel intuitively, though, it's going to be between April and July of 2023. And I would say pay attention to people that you meet through traveling or through changes with your job. And also realize that very important decisions are being made in regards to relationships next year. The Judgment card is basically saying that you may make some big decisions with who you're going to spend your life with or where you're going to be living. There are huge karmic forces at play. But for the most part, this 6 of Wands kind of popping up makes me laugh because it's saying like, you got to get the show on the road. Like you may actually have to get moving or physically go somewhere to kind of enact some of this energy. Okay, good luck. Very strong reading. Not often that we see 3 majors, so I'm excited to see how that plays out for you. And we've got Kayla. Kayla popped in. What's going on, Kayla? Can I have some clarity with what's going on in my life right now? Cancer sun, Leo rising, Sag moon. So Leo rising, you got that Sag moon that's hanging out in your 9th house, and your Cancer sun that's in your 12th house. Let's take a look. So what is going on in your life right now? What's up, Lori? You can sneak in there really quick if you want. Let's see. So what is going on with Kayla's life? Leo rising, man, you got those eclipses in your 4th. Lots of emotions coming up, changing family stuff, changing home stuff. Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate it. Good luck. All right, so let's see what we need to know for Kayla. Death card, Ace of Wands, 7 of Cups. To me, this seems like overwhelmed with knowing that you need to take some action, but being like, where do I even begin? I mean, it's hard for me to think of Leo risings and not just think about the swarm of planets that are going through your 4th house right now. So quite intense, to be honest with you. 4th house deals with home, it deals with family, it deals with your origin, your roots, your past. So for Mercury to be going through there, the Sun to be going through there, Venus to be going through there, there's this feeling of like having to deal with family stuff, having to deal with roommate stuff, having to deal with real estate stuff, moving stuff sometimes. But it's also about learning to let the past be in the past. So there's like this feeling that I'm getting with the Death card coming up that's saying that putting some things to rest may not be easy for you right now, or like learning to say goodbye to things or people or situations. Like it's not easy. There can be a lot of like potentially getting stuck in that energy because it can be very dramatic and it can be very heavy. But I also think that the Death card, if you're going to pull the Death card, pulling the Death card in the right now is ideal. Okay. So I feel like it's kind of like, okay, so the shift has already hit the fan. You've already made the change. Like it's uncomfortable, but for the most part, like I think it's actually really great. I literally moved to a small town 2,000 miles away from my hometown to start over. Okay, well, I mean, in my mind, looking at the Death card, it's like perfect timing, right? Especially with the eclipse, like that was kind of what was expected, moving away from home. What you gain from this with the North Node moving through your 10th house is like the opportunity to be in the driver's seat of your own life, like to feel like you're in charge, like giving yourself the opportunity to really rise to the occasion when it comes to your career. So moving away from home, making all of those changes, it definitely makes sense. I personally think for you with the Ace of Wands, it's talking about like action and renewing your energy and like really figuring out like what you're passionate about, what you enjoy. So important, being a combination between, you know, Sag and Leo rising. I know you're a Cancer, but you got a lot of spice in there. So I think it's about being in a place where there's culture, being in a place where you're meeting other people who are traveling, coming in and out, like being able to study new things, like your philosophy on life totally shifting. I think with the Ace of Wands, it's also about kind of finding something that that's gonna like reignite something in you. So even if you've moved for a temporary period of time or just because you feel like you need some excitement, I definitely think that you're gonna get that. The Ace of Wands literally talks about heat and physical body and like moving yourself and like dancing or anything that you need to do to just kind of get this energy out. I know when planets go into Sagittarius and it starts trining your ascendant and your moon, like it's actually going to be quite lovely. We're going to see next week, Venus and also Mercury are going to go into the 5th house of Sag for you. So I would say like go and explore your city, like go to like a local art gallery, maybe go to a local show, go to a bar, like go to a theater, like other places where you're gonna meet other people and you're gonna be able to socialize, and it's gonna work really well with your astrology. This is just about going out and feeling like you can explore and have some excitement. Then I get the 7 of Cups, which is saying like there is going to be highs and lows. There is going to be a process of you being like, did I make a mistake? What am I doing here? Am I spinning my wheels? Like what does make me happy? Am I running away from things? Like don't let that get in your head. Focus more, I think, on just staying active and feeling like you can be creative and like the excitement of being able to completely start over fresh and be able to kind of have more fun. And reinvent yourself in the process. Like the 7 of Cups doesn't have to be confusing and scary. It can be like, okay, so, you know, I'm not going to go to worst case scenario. I'm going to go to, well, what if it all pans out? What if it all works out? This is also about dreams and mysticism and intuition and like trusting your intuition. So it might be a really good time to like develop something where I would say like get a deck of cards, like get a deck of tarot cards and sit and meditate and start reflecting on what your intuition is telling you and then like pull a card. So that way you're not feeling like you're just kind of swimming in the cosmic soup and being like, okay, my life is just happening. Like, how did I get myself into this situation? Because you could spiral really quickly with all these planets in the 4th house. But you can use this positively to tune more so into your intuition and like let what messages are coming up or dreams, if you want to go in that direction, guide you, but you want to be decoding them. 7 of Cups is also all the options and all the potential outcomes. So it can be like, this could happen, but that could happen, but this could happen, but that could happen. So try to keep an open mind. Try not to let yourself get overwhelmed with all of the potentials. Like I feel like if you've moved, commit to staying there for a certain period of time. Really commit maybe to giving it a year and seeing kind of what happens and like what you can actually change and transform for yourself. I'm very confident that what you're going to see, especially when planets start going into Aries next year, is that you're learning more, you're traveling more, you're expanding more, your belief on life has changed. Like you're going to feel probably a lot better about the fact that you went somewhere that was completely foreign to you, very different, and like really kind of put you in a position of having to kind of learn to cope and be around a complete different mix and mashup of other people. And the 7 of Cups is saying that it's a great time to feel inspired and to be putting like art up and visuals and images and things that are going to be kind of helping you create this new reality. So vision boarding can be really helpful in terms of being able to manifest, but also help you better kind of understand like what kind of a life it is that you would like to build. Like, as far as I'm concerned with the Death card and the Ace of Wands, it's saying like you're being given the opportunity to completely reinvent yourself. You've already gone through the process of like making the actual leap, taking the leap of faith and moving somewhere new. Now it's a matter of getting re-inspired about the life that you're creating. So you need visuals and other things that are going to guide you, or you need some kind of spiritual routine that's going to guide you through the process so you're not kind of spinning off into worst case scenario mode. You know, it's like stay optimistic, stay positive. You're really going to like these planets going through Sagittarius this next month or so. I'm telling you right now, you're going to definitely benefit from going out. You might even meet somebody romantically, honestly, because all those planets in your 5th house will do that. And I think you'll realize by about March, April of next year, when those eclipses start up in Aries, that this has inspired you to want to go other places and experience other places that you have not been before, and really see that there's like a big world out there, and that it is really inspiring to go and do some of these other things that you're hoping to kind of do with your life. You move to start making art again. So there you go. It's about getting inspired. Start putting art all over the walls and start putting things up that is going to help you go through this process. Because I think even like the creative process is going to change, honestly. It might be the medium that you use. It might be the kind of art that you're making. It might be the colors that you're using. But to go from death, which is like everything's black and gray and steel and it's kind of gloomy, or it's darker, or it's like sketches, to like Ace of Wands, where there's like neon colors everywhere and like all kinds of different materials and things are very bright and they pop. You're going to notice that there's more life coming into kind of what you're creating. You're just kind of holding space for that right now. Okay. Very exciting. That is so exciting. I'm loving that you were able to make that shift and take a leap of faith. Looks like Brandon snuck in there with Lori. What's up, Brandon? All right, now readings really are closed. Gotta hook you guys up. What's up, Brandon? Let's see what your cards say. Card for hidden talents that I may not know about. What a great question. Let's see. So what hidden talents may Brandon have that he does not know about? Ooh, this one. Well, it kind of makes me chuckle because this is the card that is associated with Taurus. I think it might suggest that you are actually extremely grounded and you give very sagely advice, or you can be a little bit more cautious and conservative than people give you credit for, right? I think also the Hierophant is about somebody who relays messages or translates messages. Like traditionally, you know, like the Hierophant or these particular popes or whatever, they were the in between, right, between God and the people. They were the ones who deciphered the messages and relayed messages from a higher power. I think this is also talking about like your ability to really connect to a higher power, connect to your spirit team, your intuition, your higher self, and to really use that information and not just use it for yourself, but also be able to kind of like direct others. So maybe it's about kind of giving you some acknowledgement and letting you know like, hey, the messages that you're getting, like they're real, like those are legit. Like if you want to talk to people about some of the hits that you're getting, you can. If you want to guide people, if you want to help people, if you want to let people know that, hey, you know, I just had this thing that I felt like I had to tell you. Or maybe you're just somebody who's really great at holding space for other people and being able to listen to them when they're going through challenges. And that's when you kind of like tune in, you know, maybe you're somebody like when they come to you and they ask for assistance, you can be like, okay, I'm going to, you know, not just give you my opinion, I'm going to tell you what I see. So there is a little bit of like tuning in, tapping in, seeing, feeling, very different than the High Priestess, because this is very reserved. This is like very structured and serious and mature. It's not mystical, magical, kind of like freak show. Like I'm going to, you know, tell you all this crazy stuff about your past lives. It's giving very grounded, concrete, reliable, consistent advice that works very well and it helps other people. And I feel like it also talks about that side of you that wants to be able to do that, but maybe you're going back and forth and you're like, okay, but have I had enough experience yet? Or am I old enough yet? Or, you know, like I don't have a mentor, I need a mentor. Like how am I helping other people? And it's letting you know that like you're already walking the path. Some of these things may come with experience. Some of these things may come more so with age, more easily. And the Hierophant is somebody who in many ways can be the professional healer or the doctor or the therapist or the lawyer. It's somebody who is really good at what they do. And I feel like for you personally, like I know you're still kind of in the figuring things out phase, but I would give yourself a little bit more credit about your ability to be able to accurately give people I'm not going to say advice because it's not advice. It's just like if you're getting a hit for something and you have a feeling that you got to tell somebody something while you're talking to them, it may seem like you're just giving them grounded advice, but there's something else going on that you're connecting to. Okay. Great question. I love that. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you're well. Looks like we got Brandon and then, yeah, Lori. What's up, Lori? It's kind of late where you are, huh? Nice to see you. Nice to see you. What is your question, my dear? I see you've got a 3-card reading. What can I help you with? I had some weird things happening in my house. I'm in complete denial about this, but I need to know if there's something I should do about this. Validation if it's nothing. You're Cap rising, and you've got eclipses that are still happening in your 4th, from what I remember, with Uranus, which can create some weird electrical things, some weird glitches, some weird vibrational stuff, especially right around that eclipse that we just had. So let's take a look. So what's going on with the weird stuff in Lori's house? Is there something, is there something she should know about it? Yeah. Oh, okay, it's the eclipses. Sorry. So Scorpio eclipses in your 4th house, opposed Uranus. Okay, so these are the cards that popped up. So the Page of Cups, the 5 of Coins, the 5 of Wands. I'm not one to get like hocus pocus, but I mean, let me ask you a question. Do you have a do you have a younger sibling that's in the house, or somebody who has been going through some like emotional distress, or somebody who has been kind of like acting out that is in the home? Page of Pentacles, Page of Cups, excuse me. Page of Cups is emotional fluctuations, reactions. So it can be something that's like feeding off of emotions of people in the house, or just a younger person who's been in the home that's been kind of moody or like temperamental. 5 of Coins is like acting out and like not getting support or not getting attention. And also feeling like they're left out in the cold. And then you've got the 5 of Wands that are coming up. So that can be about like combativeness. Like personally, I feel like this could be it could go one of 2 ways. This could be something that's feeding off of the energy of a partner that's in the home that is, not always keeping high vibe, or there can be a sense of them like complaining or being a little bit of a pain in the butt. And because there's either been some friction over finances or friction over somebody getting the cold shoulder and then fighting, like the house is responding to that, Houses respond to energy. That's why you hear them settling, expanding, and contracting. It's not necessarily just the weather, like they respond to stuff. So if this has been going on, a lot of moodiness, somebody's getting the cold shoulder, there's been some conflict back and forth, like you got to actually clear the air. You've got all of the elements here, but the element of air, ironically, right? You've got water, you've got earth, and you've got fire. So it might be about literally doing something where you're clearing the space, saging the space, doing what you need to do. Something else you could do is like a white fire. Take a pot. It's a pot that you cannot eat out of, so you do not want to eat out of this. Get if you have like a cauldron that you burn stuff in, or if you have like an old pot that you can use. Take a bunch of salt, like sea salt, douse it in some gasoline, or not gasoline, what am I saying? Alcohol, like rubbing alcohol. And then you can put fresh or dried herbs in the center. And obviously you want to put this somewhere that's going to be fire safe. So you either want to walk around with like an oven mitt while it burns, or put it somewhere that's going to be fire safe. So you can, put it on like a stone or something, and like put it in the center of the house and just let it cook off. And that will clear the house. It's not just to clear the house, it's to feed the house. So like when you go through and you clear and you smudge and you do all the stuff, or you wash the floors, that cleans the house out. You got to actually burn something or give something to the house as an offering to kind of boost the vibes back up. So a lot of people are saging or they're clearing stuff, not realizing that you're kind of putting Ajax everywhere, and then it's like neutral. There's nothing that you're burning to kind of increase the flow. Something that can be helpful is sandalwood, especially if you guys are having conflict. So you've used frankincense and myrrh, that's fine. The other way that I see this, and I'm not saying this to be like hocus pocus, like it could actually mean this. The Page of Cups could be like a younger child's energy. The 5 of Pentacles is like not getting the attention that it wants or not getting the reaction that it wants. And then the Five of Wands is like that energy, if it is like the spirit of a small child, I don't see it as like doom and gloom or like dark or scary or evil. This is something that would be like kind of young, youthful, that you might notice that there's peaks of kind of like weird paranormal activity when you guys are having arguments. And then all of a sudden there's like weird stuff that happens around the house, because energetically those things do feed or they do react to extreme emotions, right? So if you've got somebody fighting, if you've got somebody who's crying, if you've got like a lot of sexual energy in the house, like usually there can be a lot more kind of paranormal things that are happening. So I'm wondering if it's a means of being like, all right, like this stuff that's happening is like trying to kind of get my attention because it's feeding off of what's happening. So let's clear the house out, but let's also kind of maybe talk to it and just kind of be like, it's time for you to go now. You know, the rule of thumb is you say it 3 times, they have to go. So maybe get into the habit of like, you know, saying 3 times in a row, like it's time for you to move on, or it's time for you to cross over, or like this is not your home. Make a point of doing that and making it clear, and just be mindful that this activity is getting peaked more because of frustration and conflict that's going on in the house. And possibly even cooler weather. I have heard in some situations that like weather and actual like humidity in the air, those fluctuations also do have effects on paranormal activity in some situations. So maybe it's a matter of keeping the house a little bit warmer and watching for like drafts and things, because I'm wondering if that's something you've noticed. Sometimes when this card comes up, it can be somebody who's like, I just started noticing there's like a draft in the house, or like there's something going on, or I'll feel like cold air. And that can be a sign that there is something that is kind of like hanging around. But I think a lot of this can kind of be cleared out with just clearing the house and just managing the conflict, and definitely look into some sandalwood. Look into the lesser banishing ritual too. That can be really great if that's something that you're open to doing. It's going to take time to like learn, but I feel like if you're somebody who's doing any magical things in general, or if you've got spiritual stuff going on in the house, you're reading tarot cards or doing like what that stuff, learn the lesser banishing ritual. It's all going to be obviously in Hebrew, but it's like invoking the 4 corners, and you can do that to banish out the space and protect the space. It's something that can just be like immediately you'll notice a huge shift. There's YouTube has videos on how to do the whole lesser banishing ritual. It might take you about maybe 10-15 minutes, but definitely something worthy of learning. Thank you for that. That was I'm glad I was able to sneak that in. Good luck. Let me know how that goes. I'm pretty sure that's it for the evening, you guys. It looks like we got everyone. Just want to say thank you so much for spending your Saturday night with me, for joining me. I've got a new video on the astro weather that's going to be coming out tomorrow for the week ahead. We're done with the eclipses. Sag season is coming. We're going to see all kinds of new energy for the week ahead, and I'll be sprinkling in some videos intermittently throughout this week. Catch me next Saturday, 7:00 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern for astrology readings. So we'll be doing astrology next week. And as always, you can always book a personal reading with me if you want. So you can click on the links below. I'm booking February into March of 2023. It's busy, so if you know you got a birthday coming up or you want a New Year's reading, I recommend getting on the books. And if you guys want to check out my 2023 astrological calendar that's behind me, it is now up for sale. 12 months of magic and transits and all of that fun stuff. Check it out on my website if you'd like to pick that up. Otherwise, I'll see you guys soon. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday night. Take care.